Josephine and Emmanuel had been together for 5 years. They met when life was simple. No big dreams. No big money. Just two young people who enjoyed each other's company. Emmanuel wasn't rich. He worked at a small printing shop in town. The pay wasn't great, but he was hardworking and honest. Josephine believed in him. At least, she used to. As time passed, things started changing. Josephine's friends began opening small businesses. Some had boutiques. Others sold cosmetics online. On social media, everyone seemed to be moving forward. But Josephine felt stuck. One evening, while scrolling through her phone, she sighed deeply. "Emmanuel," she said, "when are we going to move forward in life?" Emmanuel looked up from the table. "What do you mean?" "I mean money, business, something bigger." Emmanuel was quiet for a moment. "I'm trying, Josephine," he said gently. "But success takes time." Josephine didn't reply. Because deep down, she was tired of waiting. A few weeks later, Josephine met someone new. His name was Darlington. Darlington was confident. Well-dressed. Always driving a nice car. They met through a mutual friend at a small event. While they talked, Darlington listened carefully to Josephine's dreams. "You want to start your own enterprise?" he asked. "Yes," Josephine said. "I've always wanted to run a fashion business." Darlington smiled. "That's easy." Josephine blinked. "What do you mean?" "I can set it up for you," he said casually. "A boutique. Inventory. Capital. Everything." Josephine felt her heart race. No one had ever offered her something like that before. Soon, Darlington began calling Josephine regularly. They talked about business plans. Shop locations. Clothing suppliers. Every conversation made the dream feel closer. Meanwhile, Emmanuel was still working long hours at the printing shop. Still saving slowly. Still believing patience would pay off. One evening, Josephine finally said it. "Emmanuel, I think we should take a break." Emmanuel looked confused. "A break?" "Yes. I feel like we want different things in life." Emmanuel's voice became quiet. "Is there someone else?" Josephine hesitated. Then she said softly. "Yes." Emmanuel didn't shout. He didn't argue. He simply nodded slowly. "I see." Josephine felt uncomfortable. "I just want a better future," she explained. Emmanuel looked at her with tired eyes. "I was trying to build one with you." But Josephine had already made her choice. She walked away. Toward a promise. Toward a dream that seemed easier. For the first few months, everything looked perfect. Darlington rented a small shop space for Josephine. He helped decorate it. Clothes arrived from suppliers. Her boutique finally opened. Josephine felt proud. Excited. Her social media filled with pictures of the new store. Friends congratulated her. "Your boyfriend is amazing," they said. Josephine smiled every time. But slowly, things started changing. Darlington stopped visiting the shop often. He became busy. Calls became shorter. Then one evening, Josephine discovered something shocking. The shop rent had not been paid for 2 months. She called Darlington immediately. "Darlington, the landlord says the rent hasn't been paid." Darlington sighed on the phone. "Yeah, things are tight right now." Josephine froze. "Tight? You said everything was handled." "I'll sort it out later," he said casually. But later never came. Within months, the boutique began struggling. Suppliers demanded payment. Customers became fewer. And Darlington, slowly disappeared. His calls stopped. His messages became rare. Until one day, he vanished completely. Josephine was left with a business she couldn't afford to maintain. The dream she left love for was collapsing. One afternoon, Josephine sat alone inside the quiet shop. The racks were half empty. Bills lay on the table. For the first time in a long time, she thought about Emmanuel. The man who never promised luxury. The man who never offered shortcuts. But the man who always showed up. She whispered to herself. Maybe I chose the wrong future. Months later, Josephine saw Emmanuel again. He looked different. More confident. She learned that he had started his own small printing business. It wasn't huge. But it was growing. When they spoke, there was kindness between them. But something had changed. Time had moved on. Josephine eventually rebuilt her life slowly. She learned to run a smaller business on her own terms. But she never forgot the lesson. Promises can be loud. But real love often works quietly. And sometimes, people only realize the value of patience after chasing shortcuts. Not every opportunity is real. Not every promise is sincere. And sometimes the slow road leads to the strongest future. Are you in a relationship for self-gain? Comment below. And subscribe for more real-life youth stories about family, growth, and strength.